K2, the second highest peak in the world, stands at a staggering 8,611 meters in the Karakoram Range, often referred to as the Savage Mountain. K2's name originated from British surveyor T.G. Montgomery in 1856 during the Great Trigonometric Survey of India, who labeled the peaks of the Karakoram numerically. Unlike Everest, K2 has no local name, highlighting its remote and enigmatic presence. The first successful ascent was achieved in 1954 by an Italian expedition led by Ardito Desio, with climbers Lino Lacedelli and Achille Compagnoni reaching the summit. However, K2 remains one of the deadliest mountains in the world, with a fatality rate of approximately 25%. One climber dies for every 4 who reach the top. Its extreme steepness, frequent avalanches, and rapidly changing weather make it far more challenging than Everest. The technical difficulties of climbing K2 have solidified its reputation as a mountaineer's ultimate test. Currently, Pakistan administers the region and controls access to K2 through the Baltoro Glacier route, a gateway for climbers and trekkers. In 1954, an Italian team led by Ardito Desio made history by becoming the first people to reach the summit of K2. The team had spent months preparing for the climb, studying previous attempts and learning from their mistakes. However, the expedition was not without its challenges. Even before the climb began, controversy struck when team member Ricardo Cassin was removed from the team. This was just the beginning of the problems that the team would face. Tragedy struck when Mario Puccios, one of the team members, contracted pneumonia and died on June 21st. This was a devastating blow to the team, but Desio was determined to push on. "The honor of Italian mountaineering is at stake," Desio declared, urging his team to continue the climb. 2 climbers, Achille Compagnoni and Lino Lacedelli, were tasked with leading the final push to the summit. On July 29, Compagnoni and Lacedelli made their way to Camp 9, the final camp before the summit. They were followed by Walter Bonatti and Amir Mahdi, who were carrying oxygen bottles. However, Compagnoni had other plans. He intentionally moved the camp to a different location, making it impossible for Bonatti to attempt the summit. Bonatti and Mahdi were left to spend the night in the open, exposed to the harsh weather conditions. Mahdi suffered frostbitten toes, and Bonatti was left to wonder why Compagnoni had made such a decision. The next morning, Bonatti and Mahdi began their descent, leaving Compagnoni and Lacedelli to make the final push to the summit. On July 30, 1954, Compagnoni and Lacedelli reached the summit of K2, a historic achievement that made headlines around the world. In his book, Ascent of K2, Desio wrote, "Lift up your hearts, dear comrades, by your efforts you have won great glory for your native land. Today, all Italians are rising to acclaim you as worthy champions of your race." However, the controversy surrounding the climb was far from over. Compagnoni and Lacedelli accused Bonatti of failing to deliver oxygen to them as promised, a claim that Bonatti vehemently denied. The controversy raged on for 50 years, with Bonatti maintaining his innocence. It wasn't until 2004 that Lacedelli finally came forward and corroborated Bonatti's version of events, clearing his name and ending the controversy. The historic 1978 American ascent of K2's Northeast Ridge. In 1978, an American team led by Jim Whittaker achieved a remarkable feat by becoming the first to climb K2's challenging Northeast Ridge. John Roskilly and Rick Ridgway led the most treacherous section of the ridge, navigating a narrow, corniced path with steep drop-offs on both sides. After establishing their top camp, team members Jim Wickwire and Lou Reichart decided to attempt the Abruzzi route, while Roskilly and Ridgway opted for the direct route to the summit. However, Roskilly and Ridgway were forced to turn back due to avalanche danger. Wickwire and Reichart successfully reached the K2 summit on September 6, 1978, at 17:15 p.m. Reichart's achievement was particularly notable, as he became the first person to climb K2 without supplemental oxygen. After a brief celebration, Reichart quickly descended to Camp 6, where Roskilly and Ridgway were preparing for their own ascent. Wickwire lingered on the summit, taking in the breathtaking view, but was eventually forced to endure a harrowing bivouac just below the summit. The next day, September 7th, Roskilly and Ridgway successfully reached the summit without oxygen. They described the experience as surreal, with a cerulean sky and brilliant sun. Wickwire's descent was complicated by pneumonia and pleurisy, and he was eventually forced to take a rescue helicopter near Paiju. Despite the challenges, the 1978 American ascent of K2's Northeast Ridge remains an impressive achievement in the world of mountaineering. The historic 1981 ascent of K2's West Ridge. In 1981, a Japanese expedition led by Teruo Matsuura achieved a remarkable feat by becoming the first team to climb K2's formidable West Ridge. The route, which spanned 3,200 meters of ice and rock, was a significant challenge that required meticulous planning and execution. On August 6, 1981, Eiho Otani, Matsushi Yamashita, and Pakistani climber Nazir Sabir began their summit bid, climbing fixed ropes to the southwest ridge. They reached an altitude of 8,470 meters, where they decided to bivouac for the night. The next morning, August 7th, the trio climbed another 100 meters, reaching a point just 50 meters from the summit. However, Otani and Yamashita were instructed by the team leader to descend, citing exhaustion. Sabir was adamant that they should continue, and after a heated 45-minute argument, the leader relented. With renewed determination, Otani and Sabir pressed on, leaving Yamashita behind due to exhaustion. An hour later, they reached the summit, marking a historic achievement for the Japanese expedition. The 1981 ascent of K2's West Ridge was a testament to the team's perseverance and determination. The route, which took 52 days to complete, was fixed with an impressive 5,500 meters of rope. The achievement marked a significant milestone in the history of K2 climbing and paved the way for future expeditions.